Okay then, so in this episode we're going to be talking about conceptual tuning and the support that I'm going to be receiving from them. We're also going to be talking about the products used in this episode, why I'm using them and the benefits using them. And then finally we're going to move on to the engine bay, where I'm going to be cleaning it, removing any surface rust, filling in any imperfections and small dents, and then finally putting a layer of primer on.
Right, hi again guys, thanks once again for tuning in. I'm going to start this one with an apology. It seems that most of the work that I did on this video somehow went missing off the memory card. I don't know where it's gone, I don't know how it happened. The computer said no and I just agreed because I didn't know what was going on. Okay, to make up for that though, I'm obviously going to go back and I'm going to explain what I did and how I did it. However, luckily enough, I didn't film the whole thing. So I stopped for a break, and that was when I realised that some of the stuff was missing. So I've still got half or more than half of the engine bay to do, on which I can explain to you again what I did, why I'm doing it, and how it's supposed to be done. Okay, on a positive note though, those of you that have seen the Facebook page or know, just a quick one, those that haven't seen the Facebook page, I'll put a link down here, okay, for you to go to the Facebook page like that, because on there I'm going to put extras on there. I'm also going to keep giving sneak previews of what's coming along in the next videos. Okay, but those of you who have seen the Facebook page will know that I've now got the support of Conceptual. Okay, now Conceptual Performance Tuning, they're awesome. Okay, it's good for me to have them on board because what it does is it gives me a line, if you like, to call should I need any technical support. There's nothing that Chris at Conceptual doesn't know about Skylines. So for me, like I say, it's really good because I can then go and ask advice if there's something I'm not sure of, so I can make sure it's done right. Okay, I can then pass that knowledge on to you. Okay, now Conceptual Performance Tuning, they do parts for most Japanese cars. You should really need to check out the Facebook page. Okay, what I'll do is underneath my link, I'll put another link down there. Okay, and you can go and have a look for yourselves. Okay, like their page and you'll be kept up with regular updates and everything. Okay, I'll also be showing you any conceptual parts I use, which is going to be the majority of them, because I obviously, from the start I said I wanted performance parts to go on these cars and I wanted high quality parts. Okay, and Conceptual have given me that option. Like I said, I'm not ever going to put parts on this car that were made in China or Taiwan, because if you think about it, a kettle that you buy from China or Taiwan lasts about 5 minutes and it blows up. There's no way I'm putting something like that on my car. So yeah, they've given me that lifeline and the technical support as well. Awesome. The prices, I find the prices very reasonable for what you're getting. I mean, you pay for what you get, and with them you're getting a high quality part, and the prices, like I say, some of the best I've seen. Okay, so yeah, check them out and see what they can do for your car. Right, then as I was saying, what I did in the video, or the build up to the video when I was recording it for you, was I started working on the engine bay. Okay, now what I did was I obviously cleaned it first, then I sanded it down, and then I went through and removed any imperfections, so any dents, any scratches, anything that I didn't want there, I got rid of. Okay, I've also smoothed it out, and what I mean by that is I've obviously gone along, and where it's got the seam sealer on it, I've sanded it or cut it back. There's still some sealer in there obviously, but I've cut it back and then I've just smoothed it into the rest of the bonnet so there's no prominent lines all over it. Okay, I'll show you how I've done that in a minute, and I'll show you what it looks like. Now the part I have done, I'm going to need to go over a bit anyway because the high build primer has showed up some areas I'm not happy with, so we're going to go back and redo them. But for now then, if we just go over to the engine bay, right behind me, okay, and I'll show you exactly what I've done so far and what's to come in this video, and then we'll crack on. Okay then, so there you can see the half of the engine bay that I've not touched yet, and you can see it's pretty manky. There's dinks, there's dents, there's scratches. Okay, we've got quite a bit of surface rust and grime in there as well, all of which needs to be removed, especially along the chassis rail. You can see where the obviously water and stuff's flicked off the road, all the dirt's come with it, and it's obviously left its mark on the chassis rail. Okay, now if we have a look over to the bit I have done, that's the bit I have done. Now this is the bit I tried to film before. Like I say, there is some footage left from this, but not a lot, and as much as I'd like to give you an answer to where it's gone, I don't know. Okay, the data pixies came down and stole it off the memory card. That's as much as I can tell you. But anyway, as you can see, the chassis rail, okay, I've done that in stone chip, and that will be a continuous theme throughout. Okay, all the chassis and everything underneath is going to be done in stone chip. One, because it protects against all kind of POLs, so your petrol and lubricants, gives you protection against that. Also performs a barrier for rust. Okay, and obviously it doesn't chip. if it gets by stones. Okay, with it being under the car as well, that's more than likely where all the big stones are going to chip up against. Now that isn't the colour I'm going with the car, because it's disgusting. That's the high build primer. A high build primer is great. For those of you who don't know, what it does is that it fills in any smaller scratches, any small imperfections, and gives you a better finish. Okay, but this one as well, this colour, what it does for me is this. I don't know if it's going to work for you, but for me in particular, this colour helps me to spot any imperfections. Okay, it must be the way my eyes work, but I can see it better in this colour, better than grey, or better than any other colour primer. Okay, and that's what it's done. I've sprayed the first coat of high build primer over it, and I've noticed some imperfections. Okay, so I'm going to go over and I'm going to rectify them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Underneath that primer, there is a rust primer. Okay, I'll show you which one it is. Just go over to the cupboard. Okay, you'll see it's called Zinc 182. Okay, and it's like a grey rust-proof primer. Now I've put that down first because it obviously, like I say, it provides another barrier against rust. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to try and build a car that not only looks good, but it's going to stay looking good for a while as well. And that's the stone chip I've used right there. Okay. Right. There is a bit of filler on there, like I say. Not a lot. I've got most of the dents out from the other side with the old hammer and dolly, because I was trying to limit the amount of filler that goes on the car. But I have used a bit, especially on these areas. Now, with the sealant, what I was saying is you can see here, okay, you've got a sealant that they've put on the joints. Now, I wouldn't advise removing that altogether, but certainly what I did was I just smoothed it out. Okay, just got a really sharp knife and just came along, smoothed it out, and then on top of that, I just put a small thin layer of body filler. Okay, and as you can see, when it's done, that needs going over again. It's not perfect yet. Okay, but when it's done, it just smooths everything out. I think it makes it look a lot nicer than having those joins everywhere. Okay, so that's pretty much what we've done, and it's all pretty self-explanatory. However, things like the body filler and stuff, I'll talk through as I go through doing this bit and that bit, and then we'll go from there. So if we crack on with this video, then I'll try and get as much done as I can today, and we'll see how it turns out. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the area I've already done, and I'm going to go over those imperfections. Okay, now because I put the primer on, before I start putting any more filler on or anything, I've obviously got to sand that down, otherwise there's going to be nowhere for the filler to stick to. So I'm going to go over that now. When it's done, I'll go through the filling as well. Like I said, I did do this previously, but the Pixies came and stole it. So we'll go through it now. Okay, I'm going to crack on with this. I'll speed the video up because you don't need to see me sanding for 20 minutes. Okay, yeah, so that's obviously all the areas that I found that I'm not happy with. I've gone over and I've sanded them to give the hardness something to stick to. Okay, so any imperfections I saw, smaller scratches, little dinks that I've missed, or areas where I've just blatantly not polished the finisher off properly, I've gone over and I've done them again. Now, what I'm going to be using first is the Isopon P40. Okay, it's a glass fibre compound, and you usually use it for bridging holes or repairing like rust damage. I use this because it offers a more flexible base. And a bit of a stronger base as well. However, once you've used this, you still need to go over it with a body filler. Now, I use the P38, the Easy Sand stuff, because, like it says, it's easy sand. Okay, less work involved, and you do get quite good results from it. Now, with this, a warning: don't just pick up glass fibre compound and assume that you're going to be able to use it straight away. Some people can, but some people, like myself, find that you need a little bit of practice with it. It is quite difficult to manipulate, and it's quite hard to work with at first. The only thing I can probably compare it to is if you got like a handful of candy floss and mixed a load of chewing gum in with it. Okay, it's quite stringy, and it is quite difficult to work with. However, like I say, when you've done, I find it does give the best results. Now, mixing this is a little bit different from the body filler. Whereas with the body filler, you'd use probably like a golf ball size of filler to a pea size of hardener. With this, you're going to go for a golf ball size of glass fibre compound and approximately 3 pea-sized lumps of hardener. Okay, it's not too critical with this, however they're going to give you the best results. Okay, so it's 3 pea-sized splodges of hardener with a glass fibre. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix that and I'm going to get it on. Okay then, so while we're waiting for the glass fibre compound to dry, because it does take a little while to dry, we're just going to go through how to deal with the surface rust. Okay, now it may just be surface rust, but at the same time it means that there's obviously moisture getting in there, and it's a place obviously where rust can set in. So what I like to use is this, okay, the Hammerite Rust. Now this does work, especially for things that you can't dip. As you can imagine, that's going to be quite hard to dip into a container. Yeah, now I did a review before on the Vapor Rust, which turned out to be pretty non-effective. I have got a review coming up, however, on another item, and you'll see that later on in the series. But as I say, for areas that you can't dip, I recommend using this Hammerite Rust. Now it's a brush-on application. You brush it on, leave it there, and it actually kills the rust, and kind of like prevents it from coming back. However, like I've done, I would recommend using some kind of primer that delays obviously rust as well, stops it from getting through. It's just another barrier to stop rust. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to show you how this works now, and you'll see exactly why I use it. So we'll get this done. Okay, then what you're going to need for this is some kind of container. If you can't find a container, or you haven't got an empty container lying around anywhere, then just simply do what I do, use the lid off an old aerosol. Okay, it does the same job, you can just throw it away after. Okay, so quite simply, all you're going to do is get the crust, and you're going to pour as much as you think you're going to need just into your container. Okay, you don't actually need that much. I don't know if you can see, probably not without me spilling everywhere, but yeah, I've not got a lot in there. Then you're going to take the brush. So we'll go over and I'll show you the areas I'm going to treat, and then I'll show you me actually treating it, and then I'll show you as it's working along. Okay, you'll see a definite change and the rust does disappear. Right, okay then, so you can see the areas that we're going to treat, obviously. All these areas where we've got any kind of like built up surface rust, or anything that's a bit deeper. Okay, all you're simply going to do is you're going to take your paintbrush and you're going to dip it in the liquid. Okay, I'll apologise now for my camera skills. You probably would get a steadier picture if I was to prop this on a washing machine or something. Never mind. Okay, all you're then going to do is just simply paint it on to the area that's obviously affected with rust. Okay, and then you're just going to do that. Now I'll just do this a little bit for now, and then I'll carry on when I'm not holding the camera, because it'll just be a bit easier. Okay, yeah, so obviously making sure you get right in there with it, and then all you're simply going to do is leave it. Now you will see it working as it's going along, okay, because there'll be a distinctive colour change. It'll obviously go from rust to black, and as much as I'd love to hold the camera here and show you as it's happening, I'm not going to do that. It does take a while sometimes, but you can see already, look, that it's starting to react, and it'll get rid of the rust. So what I'll do is I'll leave it for a bit, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like in a bit. Right, okay then, so that rust killer's been on there a while. If I show you now exactly what it's doing, you'll see exactly why I use it. Okay, so when I put the camera down, obviously went along, and I applied it to anywhere else where I saw there was rust. Okay, and as you can see, the rust has gone from obviously orange, which is the colour of rust, and it's turned it black. Okay, there's an indication for you that the rust is being killed off. And this stuff, once it's dry, it can be painted straight over, it's not a problem. Obviously wipe away any excess, and then carry on as normal. And there you go. That's how we're going to kill the rust, or the surface rust at least, that's in and around the engine bay. And it works. Okay, so if you need something for an area that can't be dipped in a rust removal dipper, then this is the stuff I would recommend using, because it works well. And as you can see, I've just proved it works. Okay, so the glass fibre compound we put in earlier, it's starting to dry. It's not completely dry yet, it's still a little bit tacky, but I'm fairly confident it's quite safe to work around. I'm not going to be touching that direct area just yet until it's fully dry. However, what I can do for now is start working on the half of the engine bay that I've not done yet. So I'm going to start sanding that down, I'm going to start smoothing it. For the most part I'll leave the camera running, I will speed it up, but I might skip ahead of it because otherwise we're just going to make the video needlessly long just for the sake of you sitting there watching me sand and trim things with a knife. If there is anything I think you need to know, then I'll just come back to the camera. But other than that, I'm just going to crack on, get that half done and try and get ahead of the game a little bit. Okay, a couple of things I would recommend while doing this is a dust mask, because there's going to be dust flying around everywhere, and some form of gloves if you don't want to get your hands too dirty, basically. Now I sand by hand, but you can get electric ones or ones that work off the compressor. However, I like to get a feel of what I'm doing, so I just use the good old sanding block and sandpaper. I'm going to attack it first with an 80 grit, a nice rough sandpaper on there, and then we'll start working our way down, but I'll explain this as we go along anyway. But like I say, for now, I'm just going to crack on and get it done. Okay then, so as you can see, I've skipped ahead a bit and all the sanding's done. I've gone over it with a 40 grit, really roughed it up, and obviously as well that loosens anything that's going to fall out, such as old filler or anything like that, that'll loosen it up. Okay, so that's the sanding done. So far we've done the rust proof, or the rust killer, and now I've done the sanding. Okay, so the next step then is obviously to get some fiberglass compound on the mix and get some of that in places where I need it. This side, believe it or not, I've actually got no little dents that need knocking out with the hammer and dolly, so I can't show you that. But I'm sure as we go around the rest of the bodywork to the car, there'll be some somewhere for me to show you how to use them. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to mix the fiberglass compound together and then I'm going to crack on getting that on the car. I'll leave the camera running for a bit, but then I'll cut it off again. compound on now. It's going to wait for it to dry, and then we're going to sand it down. I'm going to skip straight ahead by sanding that down, and then I'm going to apply the body filler, and then I'm going to sand that down again, and we'll come back to the video once all that's done and it's all nice and smooth. So I'll see you then. Okay, so I know that what I'm going to do next isn't quite what you should do, but it's what I'm going to do anyway. Now, the side that I'm working on at the minute is taking a little bit longer than I expected, and I've already been down here for the best part of 2 days. So what I'm going to do is, while the filler and everything else is drying on that side, it's pretty much dry now. I mean, it's not to the point where it's still soaking wet or anything, but on this side what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to respray the areas that I've touched up, and then I'm going to move on to the firewall at the back just while that's drying. So the parts I can do now I'm going to do while I'm waiting for that to sort itself out. Okay, you shouldn't really do it like this for contamination and other reasons, but I suppose as long as you put the right precautions in place, it shouldn't cause too many problems, and that's what I'm going to do anyway. So I'm going to crack on with that, and then when I finish that I'll come back and I'll show you the results. Okay then, so there we've got it, all smoothed, all sanded, and the primer's gone on. Okay, and I think you'll agree, it looks a hell of a lot better than what it did previously. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to give the primer a chance to dry, and then I'm going to go and work on the chassis rails, get them squared. Okay, I'm happy with the way that's turned out. It's nice and smooth. Okay, a lot of problems have been rectified, rust free. And now it looks gleaming. Okay, primer's on, ready for when it's time to put the final coat on, of which yet I've not disclosed the colour, but that'll come as a surprise. Okay, so I'm just going to potter around. You don't need to see me pottering around here, tidying up a bit, and then I'm going to go onto the chassis rails and get them done. Okay, and we'll see what it all looks like when it's completely finished. Catch you in a bit. Okay then, so there we have it for now. The engine bay's done. Okay, as you can see, you saw already it was all primer. The chassis rails have now been done as well. And I think it's actually looking a lot smarter than what it was. Nice and tidy all round. And yeah, it's a good basis to start the work on, because that, unfortunately, after 2 days was just the beginning. There's still quite a lot more to do. But yeah, like I say, hopefully you can agree. It does look a lot better. Okay, so that's it then for the show. Thanks again for watching. I hope it was as much fun to watch as it was to do. I'm done, I think, in the garage for today anyway. Been down here, like I say, the best part of 2 days. I'm filthy, I stink. I think it's time for a shower or a beer. Anyway, right, yeah, that's it for today. Like I say, check out the links below, check out the Facebook page, give that a like. There'll be previews on there that's to come in the next video. There'll also be a few extras on there as well. Also check out Conceptual, like their page, go and see what they've got to offer for your Japanese car. Okay, and that's it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time.